Alright, this is Weapon X Reacts and we're back with another video, and this is going to be a review of Se7en. And this film right here has to be one of the scariest non-horror films ever made. And it's a movie that grips you right from beginning to end. And to me, this is one of the best films of David Fincher's entire career as a filmmaker. And not just that, but it was the film that made him successful. And it's a great example of why he is so good at directing crime thrillers like this one right here. And I just want to say that there will be a lot of spoilers in this review. I'm gonna break down the plot of this film. So, two detectives, William Somerset and David Millis, are paired up to solve murders, and together they attempt to find a killer who bases his crimes off the 7 deadly sins. Also, one thing I thought was interesting about this film is that it does a good job of exploring the nature between good and evil and the decay of morality in modern society. Brad Pitt gives an amazing performance as David Millis, and he does a great job of making his character arc extremely compelling, like how he starts off as an arrogant young man who wants to be seen as a force for good, but as the film goes on, he becomes someone who would do everything he can to solve this case until it mentally breaks him in the end. And to me, Brad Pitt's performance makes this movie even better than it already is. And it's also a great example of why he is such a great actor. Morgan Freeman gives one of his best performances as William Somerset, and he is portrayed as a veteran detective who is about to retire. And the reason why is because he feels exhausted from all the crime that happens in the city, and that there is just no point in saving it anymore. And not just that, but he also has a cynical worldview on human nature. Like how he says that the case is a sign of society's downfall. But there are moments of where he shows empathy towards Tracy. And I thought the chemistry between him and David was really well written, as it shows how different they are from each other. And overall, Morgan Freeman brought so much humanity to his character. And it's one of the main reasons of why this film is so fucking good. The cinematography is just fantastic, and it fits perfectly with the film's dark and gritty atmosphere. And it also makes scenes even more intense than they already are. And the use of lighting and color is a perfect example of why the cinematography is so good, as it makes every shot feel realistic, and it does a good job at setting the mood for each scene that takes place. And this is easily the best work I have ever seen from Darius Khondji, as it's both visually stunning and disturbing at the same time. John Doe is one of the most terrifying villains in cinematic history, and Kevin Spacey's performance is a perfect example of this, And what makes his character so interesting is that he is a man who thinks that the world is drowning in apathy towards sin. And through the murders that he commits, he uses that as an opportunity to prove to the world that everyone is a sinner, including himself. And he is also a hypocrite who thinks he is doing God's work, but really, he is just a psychopath who enjoys killing people for his own amusement. And he is also a representation of envy, all because he envied the life David had with Tracy. And even though he wasn't in the film very much, he commands the screen in every scene he's in. And some of his monologues are very interesting when you think about it. And he is a perfect example of what pure evil might look like in our society. I'm going to explain the victims of this film, and I just want to say that some of the content here is extremely disturbing and graphic. So for the first one, Gluttony is portrayed as an obese man who spent his whole life alone in his apartment. And the film states that he died from being forced to eat so much, which caused his stomach to burst. And John Doe even says that he was a disgusting person who let his temptations take over, and his death sets the tone perfectly for the film. For the second one, greed is portrayed through Eli Gold, a defense attorney who made a lot of money defending clients, and to John Doe, he represented greed. And the film mentions that he was held at gunpoint to cut a piece of his own flesh, which is a powerful metaphor for how greed can tear people apart from the inside out. For the third one, sloth is portrayed through a child molester and drug dealer who was seen as a parasite to society by John Doe. And the part of where he is found strapped to a bed for a whole year is easily one of the most disturbing scenes I have ever seen in a film. And the worst thing about it is that he is still alive, but decaying slowly. For the fourth one, lust is portrayed through a prostitute. And the film implies that John Doe forced a man to sexually assault her with a knife, and then he gets interrogated. And I just want to say that the acting in this scene is absolutely amazing, as it shows just how traumatic it was for him. For the fifth one, pride is portrayed through a model who valued her career over her own life. And in the graphic novel, it said that she was verbally abusive to her own daughter. And the film describes how she was given a choice to either live her life disfigured or overdose on pills. So she decided to kill herself, all because she could not live without her beauty. And the fact that her sin was written in lipstick perfectly shows who she was as a person. And that goes the same way for the greed victim because his sin was written in Greece, which means that John Doe tried to find something thematic about the person he killed. And overall, all these sins are a powerful reflection of how messed up the world is in this film. Gwyneth Paltrow did a great job as Tracy, and she really shows how good of an actress she really is, as she brought so much vulnerability into the role. And the first film I actually saw her in was in Iron Man, but here, she actually proved that she was more than just a Marvel actor, but a really good actress. She really should have got nominated for Best Supporting Actress though. This is the rating that this film got on Rotten Tomatoes, so 84% from the critics and 95% from the audience, which is really positive for a film like this, and I'm gonna read out the reviews right now. So for the first one, there is no denying that Se7en is a deeply unpleasant movie, but I believe it is a fine one too. It doesn't glory in its depravity, but keeps a distance from it. For the second one, David Fincher's classic possesses one of the most captivating screenplays I have ever witnessed, marked by an extremely dark, somber, violent, gruesome story that ends with one of the most emotionally shocking conclusions to a movie ever. And that is something I most definitely agree with, and as I read these reviews, it's nice seeing a film like this getting the praise it deserves. Sorry, I'm a bit sick, alright? So fucking deal with it. The soundtrack in this was like really good, and it's crazy how no one talks about it. It's disturbing and it's haunting at the same time. And also, I just want to let you know that this film takes some inspirations from Dante's Inferno. And you can see that through that scene of where William Somerset goes to the library. It fits perfectly with the film's dark story, man. This is a dark fucking movie, and I love it. This movie never holds back when it comes to showing you how disturbing it really is. Hollywood needs to make more movies like this because nowadays the films that are coming out right now are slop. David Fincher is a damn good filmmaker. And this film's a great example of why he is so good. Howard Shore, the guy who composed the Lord of the Rings soundtrack, yes? Now it's time for the most intense ending in movie history. I'm going to explain the ending of this film. So after being led to a remote location by John Doe, a delivery van appears, and William Somerset starts to investigate what's in the package, and as he opens it, he sees that this was part of John Doe's plan. And we realize that when David gets told that John Doe killed Tracy out of envy, and implies that the box contains her decapitated head. And what makes this even worse is that he tries to manipulate David by telling him that the baby died with her. And I just want to say that the acting from Brad Pitt here is just powerful. And in anger, John Doe is shot in the head, which led David to become the embodiment of wrath, which completed John Doe's plan, even in death. And one thing that makes this ending so good is how well directed it was. And then the film ends with William Somerset saying, Ernest Hemingway once wrote, "The world is a fine place and worth fighting for." I agree with the second part. Which shows how John Doe changed him as a person, and that it let him decide to not retire and keep fighting even if the world is still in chaos. And it even shows that William Somerset has a sin too, and that is apathy. And to me, this was a perfect ending to a film like this, and it's easily one of the most haunting endings I have ever seen in a movie. I'm gonna show you the trailers of this film, starting with the first one.
Like what you do for a living. These things you see. Somerset is looking for a way out.
You're retiring. 6 more days and you're all the way gone.
So how long have you lived here?
Too long. Detective David Mills is looking for a way in.
We'll be spending every waking hour together from now until the time I leave. I'll show you who your friends and enemies are.
Look, I'm on homicide 5 years. I'm here.
Now, listen to me. They're caught in a game. In the press.
Man, that classic trailer voice.
Everything we know about that guy right now is he's totally insane.
Where the price of sin is death.
There are 7 deadly sins. Gluttony,
You want to come take a look at this?
greed,
No one touches anything.
sloth, wrath, pride, lust, and envy. 7. You can expect 5 more of these.
Body was found on Tuesday morning.
I hate this city.
We're gonna get who did this. This will be the very definition of swift justice. There are 2 more bodies, 2 more victims.
This guy's methodical, exacting, worst of all, patient.
He's laughing at us.
He had a gun.
He's 2 murders away from completing his masterpiece.
Remember when villains were straight up evil back then?
Brad Pitt.
That's who John Doe was. Just a straight up psychopath that doesn't care about the lives of other people.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
I'm sick and tired of Hollywood with their sympathetic villains and all that.
Se7en.
Just make a villain evil for fuck's sake.
If I may speak freely, this should not be his first assignment. I've worked homicide 5 years. Not here.
So how long have you lived here?
Too long.
911, what's your emergency?
No fingerprints. No witnesses of any kind.
It means that this is beginning. There are 7 deadly sins. Gluttony, greed, pride, sloth, wrath, lust, and envy.
The ending of this film was so fucking good.
Honestly, have you ever seen anything like this?
That's an ending
Worst of all,
that will stay with me forever. Cause after you watch it,
Oh God, he had a gun.
you'll never forget it.
He's 2 murders away from completing his
No, fuck that. You will never forget about this movie after you first watched it. It sticks with you for a long time. Seriously.
you know this isn't going to have a happy end.
In conclusion, this is one of the most fucked up crime movies I have ever seen in my life. And it is just an absolute masterclass when it comes to its themes, acting, directing, and cinematography. And it takes me back to a time when Hollywood actually gave a shit about making good films. Because nowadays, it's all just slop that nobody asked for. And while there are some good movies that came out, it doesn't match up to the quality that they had back then. And that's what this film is, a masterpiece. And if you haven't seen it yet, I definitely think you should, as it's just one of those movies that stick with you long after it's over. Also, anyway, that's all I got for today. Go away now, and always remember, strike back like a weapon against wokeness.